Right, hello everybody. This is going to be a video guide to basically efficiently using your mouse and your keyboard in the game of archeage. So by default, when you load into the game, you'll have like two skill bars, and they'll have like I think just the basic numbers here, and then maybe like shift numbers. But there's a lot that you can change, and so I'm going to pretty much go over everything for your skills, your mounts, your gliders, and pets and all that. So if I sent this video to you directly, there are 4 possible reasons why. Number 1 is that you're a new player, so learning this early is good. You want to start building these habits early. Number 2 is I saw you running instead of using your mount. So in archeage we have mounts, and mounts are faster than running like this, so use your mounts. Number 3 is you double tap spacebar to glide. This is something that we want to get out of our system, get out of your mind, muscle memory, whatever. Just stop using double tap spacebar to glide. And number 4 is you click your skills. So we don't want to click any skills. We want to make sure that we have all our skills assigned to keybind on our shortcut bar, because it is not efficient doing this. You don't want to be clicking like this. This is not good. Just have them assigned to keys. That way you easily use all your skills, because there's a million things here, and you want to make sure that you're able to click all of them, use all of them, not click all of them efficiently. Alright, so first thing I'm going to talk about is skill bars. So the skill bars, by default, I think there's like only 2. The way that you unlock more is by shortcuts in your settings, and you want to show all of these, so just check all these boxes. This is going to show basically these skill bars, and then you can kind of arrange them any way you want. And then what you want to put on your skill bars is going to be obviously your skills. All of every skill that you have, you're going to want to put in your skill bar. If there's a skill that you don't have, then put it on. We only have a limited amount of skill points. If you're new, you might not know what all your skills do, but just kind of get into the habit of, at the very least, making sure that all your skills are on your bar. And then next thing you want to have is your mounts. You want to put your mounts on your shortcut bar. You do not want to be opening your inventory and then clicking on your mounts to get them out. You want to have them on your shortcut bar, so that way you just hit a key and it brings your mount out. You want to have your gliders as well. Put your gliders on your shortcut bar. That way when you have multiple gliders, you can actually use the keys to basically open those gliders, as opposed to going into your inventory and then equipping a different one and then using your glide key. And then you also want to have things like any weapon swaps, any potions, and then things to make your life easy. I usually put my vehicles on here too, and any like buffs and all that, food, potions, all that stuff. Alright, so let's talk about mouse recommendations. So what I would recommend is that you get a mouse that has a lot of buttons. I use one that has 12. The one that I use is like 40 bucks. It's not like crazy, but if you don't want to spend money on a new mouse, that's fine. As long as you have a mouse that has more than one button, or I mean more than just left and right click, then you can do things with it. Some mice, they have like 2 or 3 buttons on the side. Those work too. Basically you just want to have as many mouse buttons as possible, because as you can see, there's a lot of stuff on your skill bar, and you want to be able to have a shortcut to most of this. And if you don't have giant hands that can move around your keyboard quickly, if you have them all on your mouse, you just move your thumb. So if you do have a 12 button mouse like I do, pretty much you can really utilize literally all 12 buttons on your skill bars. If you don't, like let's say you have only 2 or 3 mouse buttons, what I would suggest is that you have one mouse button that is used for gliding. I would say number 1 is gliding, and then for the second mouse button, you could do, what I would suggest is either like a weapon swap key. You could also maybe use it for your mounts, like mounting and dismounting. That's what I would also recommend. So let's say that you don't have a 12 button mouse. If you are not able to basically reach all these keys, like for example, typically I would say for most people, like you can pretty much reach like up to like maybe 5 easily with your fingers, but once you get to like 6 and above on your keyboard, it's kind of a stretch with your fingers. So you can also use other keys instead of the numbers. So like for example, Q, E, R, T, F, G, Z, X, C, B, D, N, G, H, Y, all those. Pretty much everything all around WASD. You can also use those for your skills. And also another thing is that you can also bind Shift and Control and Alt to your shortcut bars. So let's talk about that real quick. So if you go into settings, and then you go down to shortcut bars, this is basically where you will change the key bound to these shortcut bar skill bars. And so for me, since I just have a 1 through 12 mouse button, I pretty much have my first row just the plain numbers. Next row is Shift, 1 numbers, and then next is Control, and then pretty much the rest I have Shift plus letters, and I use those for mounts, and then I have Control letters right here. That's what I use for gliders. So pretty much it's really up to your own preference. You can also, another thing is that you can also bind like Shift and Control together. Like it doesn't have to be only Shift plus a key. You can also do like Shift Control something, like Shift Control Shift A, like that. And so that gives you a lot of possibilities. It's gonna take some getting used to if you never played a game with this many different keys, but there are a lot of possibilities that you can use if you don't have a mouse with a million buttons. Alright, so next what we're going to talk about is your mounts. So when it comes to mounts, like I said, you want to put your mounts on your skill bars and then assign a key to them, so that way you just hit a key and your mount comes out like this. So you should not be going down and clicking on your mounts. Just hit a key and your mount's out. Next thing is the mount button. So by default, as you can see here, the default key to mount is F. This is not good. This is a very bad key. And I'm going to tell you why. First of all, F is the default interaction key. So like if you're looting, you're going to be hitting F. And then sometimes, well, not just looting, but really anything where you interact, if you just hit F, sometimes you, like that, you accidentally mount instead of doing what you wanted to do. So we want to get rid of F. Also, the thing about F is that it's also the key used for mounting on somebody else's mount. And so if you have your mount next to somebody else's mount and you hit F, you might get on their mount instead. That's inefficient. And then also lastly, with F, F is only used to get on, and you can't use it again to get off. So you want to go into settings, and then for this one you're going to go down to pet controls, and it's this option right here, mount/dismount. You want to assign a key to this. So what I use, and this is something that I picked up from Crazy Mike, is Shift Space. And the reason why is because with my mounts, I have my mounts basically bound to Shift plus a letter. So what I'll do is, for example, hit Shift F, and then I'll just put my thumb on spacebar, and just like that, I'm on the mount, like that. And so if you do it really fast, you're on your mount just like that, quickly. And then also, this key is also bound to dismount, so you can also dismount like this. And so sometimes you want to get off your mount, but you don't want to desummon it, you dismount like that. And so also this is only for your mount, so if you're next to somebody and you use this key, there's no possibility of you getting on their mount because it's only bound to yours. And so that's one thing you can do like that. And then also you can also, right here, this is where you can adjust, right here you can bound the mount keys, basically the mount skills. So I put those on Alt plus a number, really simple, pretty much like that. And so another thing is you also want to make sure that we're not clicking on the mount skills too, because especially when we have mounts that have like invince dashes like this, like usually like invincibly dash, those are really good for like escaping. And so you want to be able to really quickly mount, summon, and dash away like this. And that's a really easy way to escape from like a PvP situation where you're about to get wrecked. Alright, so next we're talking about gliding. So by default, there will be a setting where basically you double tap jump, which is your spacebar to glide. We don't want to use this. The reason why? Because it's unreliable, and also it's really easy to accidentally do. It's really easy to accidentally press spacebar twice, and then you accidentally glide. So what we want to do instead, first of all, uncheck that. Where is it? Functionality. Uncheck that box. What you want to do instead? Two things. First of all, if you go to skills, basic, there is a skill called use glider. You can put this on your shortcut bar and bind that to a key. So for me, I pretty much have it on my 0 key, use glider. You want to have this as a key, and then what you also want to have is gliders on your skill bar with their own keybind. And so that way, now you have two ways to open a glider. So one is you actually basically use the keybind for the glider. So for example, if I hit Control W, it's going to equip my Sky Emperor, and I hit it again, it's going to glide Sky Emperor, and drop from there. And then let's say I want to use a different glider, just switch like that, and you can pretty much switch really easily like that. And then you also want to have that glide key itself, so that sometimes if you're in an emergency, you just hit that one key instead of having to hit double spacebar or spamming whatever glider you want to use. You just hit that one key for glide like that. Makes it easy to use one key. And then also another thing is you go to settings, right here in the status sensitive shortcut. This is going to be the keybinds for your glider skills. And so for some glider skills, you can actually bind them to the same key as your glider, so that you basically spam one key to activate a glider and the skill. So pretty much this is going to apply mainly to Azzy's glider. So if you didn't know, Azzy's glider is a really good glider that basically gives you an invincible ability. So for example, I have mine set to Control D, and so basically when I hit Control D, it's going to open the glider, and then I hit Control D again to use the invincible skill basically instantly. So for example, if you're in PvP, you're trying to escape, I pretty much just spam Control D, and then it's going to open the glider, it's going to equip the glider, it's going to open the glider, and it's going to use a skill instantly, basically with my fingers in one position. The same thing applies to, for example, Sloth Glider, where you have the skill backdrop on backward tumble on Y. And so a really easy way to do it is pretty much just spam your Y key. It's going to equip and then use your tumble instantly, just like that. So that's another way to make it basically instantly use your glider abilities. Pretty much SZ Glider and Sloth Glider are the main ones that you use this on. So the last thing I'm going to talk about is weapons. So when it comes to weapons, there's a few ways that you can use keybinds to change your weapons. So first is the weapon swap. So if you go to character controls, down here at weapon swap, you can assign a key to basically swap your weapons. So you can actually have two weapon swaps like this, where you basically, if you click this button, you can have two sets of weapons. So for example, sometimes if you're a DPS, you have a two-hand weapon, and then you can swap to like a shield swap. So this is really good for in PvP where you're kind of in a situation where you just need to survive and you're not really going to do damage. Just swap to your shield and it's going to make you tankier because shields block. So you can have a weapon swap like that. What you can also do is you can also just put the weapons directly onto your skill bar, and that will also swap them too. So for example, let's see, what I have sometimes is I'll have, like when I'm playing tank, I'll have my Kraken Scepter bound to a key. So like for example, I have R, so I hit R to equip my Kraken Scepter and I use R again to use the ability, and then I'll have another key to basically switch back to my Searing Oath. And so you can put the weapons directly onto your skill bar, and that way you swap them just by pressing them like that. Makes it really simple. But I think weapon swapping is easier like this. And also you can also set it to, for example, if you're playing a tank class, might get out of my way. If you're playing a tank class where you always have a shield equipped, you can also make it so that the shield is basically locked. So if you go right here, see, I think it's right click. So you can lock your shield, and so that way when you do press weapon swap, it's going to always keep your shield on, and then you basically just swap the right hand weapon. And so that's another way that you can do it like this. So I'll have my Kraken Scepter on here, use Kraken Scepter, and then swap back just like that, and I'm back to my Searing Oath. So that's another really easy way to do it. And then for your weapon swap key, you can pretty much use anything. I use the middle mouse button because it's really accessible. It's on my mouse. It's right there basically. So weapon swap's really good. And also, like I said before, if you put your weapon on your actual skill bar, you have the advantage of also being able to use the active abilities. So pretty much like for this, on my Kraken Scepter I have it bound to R, so I just hit R and I use my Kraken Scepter skill, and also my shield. I'm supposed to have it bound to something. For some reason that key is gone right now, but you can also have my shield bound like this, shield pull, and then Kraken Scepter like that. So it just makes it really easy. Put your weapons on your skill bar. Alright, so the last thing I want to talk about is pets. So with your pets, just like your mounts, you can have them on your skill bar, so a pet like that. And then also another thing about pets, and this is something that I kind of forgot to mention, is you can also drag the pet skills onto your skill bar, just like you do with your skills. And so, for example, like with Blobby, I can pretty much set this skill to, usually I have it set to 8, yeah, I pretty much have it on 8 right here. So you can bind these two numbers by putting them on your skill bar, and then you just hit them like that, nice and easy. And so you want to get into the habit of using your Power Summon pets. So I have my Power Summon pet summon bound to B. After you take a port, your pets, your mounts are always going to automatically desummon, so get into the habit of summoning them instantly again after jumping through every port, and also get into the habit of using those skills too by putting them on your skill bar. Alright, so that's pretty much it for the video. If I missed anything or if you have any questions, let me know, and we out.